She built her firm from scratch while raising a family, navigating a new country, and mastering a complex system most people dread. Today, she is a financial strategist behind countless thriving small businesses across the U.S. Welcome to the She Means Business Master Society podcast, where we empower entrepreneurs to thrive in their journey. In each episode, we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship. We've faced our fair share of challenges, and that's why we've created this space. Here, we will connect with incredible guests, key figures in their fields who have navigated the ups and downs of their entrepreneurial careers. Together, we will share our experiences, insights, and tools that can help you elevate your business to new heights. So, get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the knowledge you need to succeed. Let's jump into today's episode. Comenzamos. Welcome to the She Means Business podcast. My name is Jacqueline Andrea. I am a photographer, a personal brand developer, and the founder of She Means Business. Today, my guest in this episode is on a mission to make sure that taxes make sense for all of us. The ones who know, the ones who don't know, the ones who barely know, and turn chaos into clarified to entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have Odelya Bouganim with me. Bienvenida, welcome.
Thank you.
I am excited to have you here because since I started following you on Instagram, I learned so many things. You have no idea. So thank you for your content. Thank you for your service.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
How are you, my friend?
Great. Excited.
Yes, excited.
Being here. Yes.
So Odelya was saying that she was a little nervous because she doesn't speak English very well. First of all, she's gorgeous, so she doesn't need to speak so much. But she is also all brain. So I just make sure that you enjoy this. I have the same problem. So sometimes English doesn't come out the way I want, but it comes out. And this is what I always say. This is me. So this is what you get.
Perfect. Yes. True.
Yeah, right? So for all of them that don't know who you are, tell us, who is Odelya?
Oh, wow. Odelya is an Israeli American, a CPA with a national CPA firm, as I have clients all over the U.S. and outside of the U.S. I have clients in Mexico, Israel, Canada, Turkey, Ukraine, and Russia, everywhere. I love doing this just because of that multinational, global clientele I have. I do provide tax services, incorporations, bookkeeping, payroll, some not sexy services, some more sexy like advisory and consulting.
And this is really wonderful because I just always think that a woman entrepreneur, whenever I think women entrepreneur of Las Vegas, it's mostly people giving service in Las Vegas. But you, my friend, are international.
Yes.
So take that. How does one become international?
Interesting question. It's because before I became a CPA, I used to be a sales trainer. So I used to travel all over the U.S. and I used to teach people how to sell. That's how I actually supported myself during going to school. So I've met so many people in the business world that I used to help to make more sales, teaching their teams of salespeople. And then nowadays they became my clients because they knew my professionalism. They know how I work, how I conduct business. Now they came to me as actual clients for me to help them grow their business on the financial aspect of it instead of the sales like I used to.
Wow.
So
So
that's
all
how
those connections that you built throughout your career came back just for what you do now.
Yes.
That is so cool and so interesting. So if someone is building that, just keep that that clientele, right? Because you can always go back and say, hey, I'm here, and they're all over the place. So you became international. Well, congratulations for
Thank you.
that. That's amazing. How long
Thank
you
you.
been in business?
About 7 years now.
7 years. And okay, let's go back just a little bit. I want to talk a little bit of your story because you have a wonderful story. So you came from another country. You came from Israel, right?
Correct.
How long ago was that?
14 years ago. Wow.
14 years ago. Oh wow. Okay. So and then Vegas has been home, or you came to
No,
the U.S.
I came to Hawaii. That's where I
Oh,
started. Yes.
beautiful.
And then I came to Vegas and I stayed.
Yeah. And what brought you to Vegas?
So I was told all the biggest, most craziest salespeople working in Vegas because, it's a very touristic city. And I was like, okay, I have to kind of check the
Right.
box and prove myself that I'm a really good salesperson. I came here and then I fell in love with somebody who, for him, I stayed. Yeah, it's crazy because I was sure I'm going to go to Israel and go to school there.
Right. That
But
was the
then
plan.
that was the plan.
Uh-huh.
And I was also enrolled already to school there. Everything was already set up for me with my parents and everything. I already paid the year up front. But then when I fell in love, then I had to recalculate my plans. And I had to think, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to be like that housewife with him? Because it was very serious. I was engaged. Yes, I had to make that decision. And I decided, no, I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna go by the plan I had, just not in Israel, here, and with a language barrier. In a way, I had to make adjustments because in Israel I was about to do it accounting with law, and be a tax attorney. But here, because of the language barrier, I was like, okay, at least I know what I'm good at for sure, which is the numbers, math, organization skills, everything. I'm gonna do accounting in English. I know I can scheme that through, and maybe later on I'll get my law degree too. So
Wow. So you had the same plan, you just readjusted,
yes,
right? And then you decided to stay. Vegas has been home for the full entire 14 years, so that's
13.
counting 13. So that's counting Hawaii, 14
Yes.
years. Okay. So and then okay, so you became an entrepreneur, a solo practitioner, right? So what made you what was that moment that you're like, okay, I really want to do this and I want to do it on my own because I don't like having a boss. Usually that's how we go, right?
Um, First of all, having both parents that are entrepreneurs, I don't think you have a way away.
Oh,
I mean, away from it. It's in your blood
it
to be an
is.
entrepreneur. But also, when I used to work for Deloitte after school, that's where I worked. By the way, to get my certification as a CPA and get my hours, I used to work in Deloitte, which is the top accounting firm in the world. It was hard to get there, but I made it. And then, while working for them, wow, that was the biggest, the most challenging experience, but at the same time, that was not rewarding in any way. And I felt like this corporate world is not for me. That moment, I think maybe after a couple of months working for them, I knew that once I'll get my CPA degree, I'm just going to dive into the private sector and have it my own way. And that's how
And
I started.
this is now this is you, right?
Yes.
This is you all the way. And you've been helping businesses, right, all around the world.
Yes.
But how different is to treat a business that is, let's say, in Las Vegas, that one is like probably in Hawaii, because it's only interstate, but also you have international. So how different these laws are? How do you do that?
It's a lot of research.
Okay.
Every client is different. It's
Okay.
not like you go by a set rules and that's how you operate. If it was so much easier for business
Right.
people, I think. But it depends on where you live in, where you operate your business. That's, the laws that you're going to be, abide by. And as a CPA working for so many clients, every client I need to sit down and kind of assess, understand the risks, understand the operations, understand where, what's the regulation that it needs to comply with. There is a lot of research surrounding each and every client I work with to make sure that we're in compliance with state regulations, we're in compliance with IRS regulations, we are in compliance with international regulations. There's so much to it, more than just to fill up the boxes and prepare a tax return or so it's very complicated and challenging, and I think that's what I love the most in my job. It's
Ooh,
never
woman
get
likes
boring.
a challenge. That is awesome. Well, and it's also, as you said, it's challenging, but you love it. And that, I think that's key for anything you do. So, okay, so there's laws and everything. And so, but how do you learn those laws? How did you get into this? Thinking about international.
Okay. So it is, the way I see it, it's like a puzzle. That's why I tell my team, my employees too. It's like it's even a Lego effect. You need to have that mindset of like this skepticism or skeptical mindset. When you look at things, you're like, okay, what should I do now? And then you start by researching IRS guidelines, because then again, there are not a set of rules. Even two clients in the same state, even if they're both in the same location, they might have different regulations that applies to their business because one is in retail, one is in service. For example, totally different. So it's so important to break down each and every business and each and every sets of operations and make sure I understand exactly what applies to that business and explain that to my client in a language he will understand, so he will be in compliance.
We were just talking about accounting for dummies. It's probably what I'm excited. And that is so important because you said, okay, well, I'm going to put it in language they will understand because it is a complicated language.
Yes.
And trying to understand, along with trying to understand what happens behind the scenes of a business, it's so hard. And I'm telling you that from the bottom of my heart because it's been hard for me. And sometimes I find myself crying because I don't understand. Before I have my bookkeeper, I was like, I don't know how to do this, like you give up on things and they're like, okay, and then you get in trouble because you cannot give up on things, right? Like stuff like this, like taxes and all that stuff. But so, and then that's magical. And thank you so much again for your service because we need you. We need you. So, and applaud that. So what do you think make your firm different from other firms?
First of all, my enthusiasm. For me coming here from a different country with my set of skills, again, as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson, as someone who served the army even, in Israel, I have such a great set of tools that I feel like I bring to the table with my clients. I bring them my business side of things, and I give them my coaching side of things and training side of things, and I feel like a teacher and a mom and an officer sometimes, because sometimes they do need someone to tell them, hey, soldier, do this. And some clients, that's what they need someone to guide them and tell them, hey, do 1, 2, 3. And many CPAs will not do that because they're too busy, and their approach is a little bit different. They're just gonna do what they require to do. They will not be proactive on certain things. And they will not guide you. And again, I'm not saying it on everybody, but I'm just saying.
But in average.
Yeah, an average CPA. And from my own experience too, because I used to have my, CPA too, as I went to college and I had people who took care of my finances, and they didn't take care of me the way I do, with my clients.
You're detail oriented. And I think that's very important. As you said, you kind of buzz them around. And I think that's what a lot of clients need, including myself, because this is the thing. Whenever you go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, if you want, you can get an ultrasound. If you want, you can take this medicine. No, tell me what to do and what the steps are, because you are the expert. And if you don't tell me what to do, how am I going to learn? How am I going to get better, right?
Exactly.
So it's the same with you. It's like, no, give me the steps, please. Tell me exactly what my direction will be for something what I do. And I really think that marks the difference. So you're really into helping and really serving your clients in the best way, and it's very personal, right? Because seeing the behind the scenes, the numbers of a business is so personal, right? So you are there like naked with all the numbers of your business, and then you come and say, hey, no worries, we got you, let's put the puzzles together.
Exactly.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. We're gonna make a quick pause right here. We will be back. We are so back with my friend Odelya from OB CPA, and we are talking about how she has been servicing businesses all around the world. And it is amazing how somebody so young, because I feel, don't tell us how you are, but you look so young to me. So somebody so young has been so successful in really bringing all this information into people like me that need that help. So let's go into what are the best tips, some tips that you can give, like simple tips that you have on top of your head that you're like, this is what a business should do.
First of all, I think it's have a very organized set of records. Everything that you do in your business needs to be recorded, needs to be organized. You even need to have a log. In the eyes of the IRS, you need to have a log for certain business trips and meals that you have with clients. Always think, the way I see it, that whenever you're about to make an expense, always think that you need to give someone an explanation of why you had to make that transaction to the business, because again, that's how the IRS see it and how they expect you to conduct your business. For example, if you went on a business meal and you sat with some clients and you, I don't know, you paid $400 in Zuma, okay, or $500, that receipt by itself is not enough, okay? You should be documenting in that receipt, for example, is who you sat with and what was the purpose of that business meal. It can be on the receipt or again on that log or that diary that I told you about. So just the receipt is not enough. Not to mention many clients not even saving receipts. So it is important to keep receipts, and it is important to keep good records of your financials. And it's a great tool whenever you go on a, again, business meal to document those missing parts if you want that to withstand an audit. A lot of people are afraid of audits and all that. That's like a scary word to say, but at the same time, if you'll conduct your business in a way that makes sense, the right way, legitimate, if you'll use the right expenses to your business, something that is reasonable and it's relevant in your line of business, that will qualify as a business expense. But if you're going to go around and start spending money on the business, but it's actually going to serve you on your personal side, it's an easy way to see for an IRS agent to say, wait a minute, that's actually a personal expense. That doesn't make any sense that the business will pay for it. And that's the mindset that I would like my client to have. Every time you're about to use that business card, okay, think 1 second, does it really serve my business only? Is it 100% business expense, or does it really, something that to support my kids, my husband, myself, my look, and if so, some things there is the gray area, of course, but that's why you need to consult with an advisor or a CPA to see if that's a really business expense. But again, every time before you make that expense, think if it's a reasonable, if it's a legitimate business expense before you pay it, and then not only that, save the support for that transaction. So in case of an audit, you can fight. You'll have enough support to prove you did things right. What another business tip or tax tip I have would be if you become an S Corp, for example. A lot of people nowadays, S Corps becoming a very common and a very popular type of entity. Okay. Most people don't even know that if they did, then they have to pay themselves a salary, which is obvious. In the letter that the IRS, grant you that status, they tell you, hey, don't forget, you need to pay yourself a salary, a reasonable one.
Right.
And I start having so many clients nowadays that come to me from other firms and they didn't even know that. They're an S Corp, they're not paying themselves a salary, and that's a red flag for audit. That's like the 7 line on your tax return. It's a no-no. It's a big no-no. And people don't know. And that's something that I would like people to kind of be aware of. If you become an S Corp, first of all, ask your advisor or the CPA who guides you, what are my obligations now when I'm changing to that type of entity? Well, that would be the first thing, by the way, to pay yourself a reasonable salary, because again, that's the law. Right. And it's a red flag for audit if it's missing that 7-line amount on your tax return. So it needs to be reasonable. For how much? You can talk to me later. I can tell you how much it needs to be. But that's an important tip that I would tell people that are an S Corp. Other than that, like I said, support. Keeping receipts, giving invoices for any income you're making, because that's another type of proof you need to have for income you're making. You cannot just start shifting money into the business and say that's income. We need to see why you were paid, what were the services you provided. So that's another important tool to do. And a lot of small business owners are not even aware that they, what should I have on that invoice? What should be the details on it? Can I do it by hand? Does it need to be through an app or software? Don't overthink it. As long as you're given an invoice, you put inside, you set up exactly what you provided and how much you were paid for it with your logo. Yeah, that would be enough. Again, receipts.
So all the information you can collect, and also just keeping everything organized pretty much, right? And from the beginning, we were just talking about, people that are starting a business and maybe they never think about that. And I have to confess that I was that person that started a business without even knowing what I was getting into years ago. And I made a lot of mistakes. And one of the mistakes was not organizing my books from the beginning. And you said that is probably one of the best things that you can do once you start a business.
Basic.
It is very basic, but you don't know what you don't know, and that's why we have her. So that is you're very helpful and very knowledgeable and very easy to understand, and I feel that again we all need that. So just clarify a little bit, because you talk about an S corp, but what is the difference between a C corp and an S corp?
That's a great question, actually. A lot of on social media nowadays, you can see it a lot, and I feel like also the jargon that is being used is not helpful for people to understand. So there are 4 types of entities, right? LLC, partnership, S corp, and C corp, right? Some people who wants to start a business, everybody tell them, hey, start an LLC. Right. That's not always the truth. You don't always need an LLC to start your own business. You can just be a 1099 contractor, in the beginning at least, because obviously it costs money to run a business. It costs money to run an LLC, S corp, C corp. That's why sometimes maybe I would advise to start regularly without setting up an LLC, just by, being on a W-9, 1099 issuance at the end of the year.
Is that a sole proprietor?
A sole proprietor, yes, thank you. So as a sole proprietor, that can be a good maybe first step to see where it's going. An LLC will only give you a liability protection. That's what it gives you. No tax benefit whatsoever. So being a sole proprietor and an LLC, in a sense of, again, tax benefits, it would be the same thing, okay? The only difference, again, is the liability protection aspect. Now, C Corp versus S Corp. S Corp, if you decide to turn your LLC into an S Corp, that will save you 15.3% on self-employment taxes. Whoa. There are some loopholes there that you need to know, but yes, overall, it saves you on that. But remember, you need to pay yourself a salary, and on that, you will pay the self-employment taxes. But you're not going to pay it on the full net income you're making from your business. On the other hand, C Corp is when you're paying currently 21% flat, okay? But you're actually going to have double taxation. Why? Because any money you're going to take out of that business, which is called dividends, that's where you're going to actually pay another tax on the personal level. So you should really talk to a CPA and even a lawyer in the beginning when you decide what type of entity is best for you in terms of liability, in terms of tax benefits, and see what's the best form where you can, for your situation, what is the best entity to have. So not just jump on whatever the friends or community is telling you, because they don't know enough to give you the right
because
advice.
Like if you go to social media advice, usually they are giving this is what it is globally, but if you want to know more direct or towards what your business is, go with an expert. Right. Yes. So I think that's also so important. What has been the most common mistake that you've seen in businesses in general?
In business, oh wow, commingling.
There's a list.
There's a list, but the biggest one, and I see it all the time, every day, every moment, with my clients and even with relatives of mine, is commingling. What does it mean? Is when you use your business account as if it's your personal account, or your personal account as if it's your business account. That go against what we just talked about of organization. Have everything organized, because when you mix things around and your business account is paying for your personal Amex, or your business account is paying for your pet spa, right? Or on your personal, all of a sudden you get income from clients. So that type of mess, that is called commingling. And this is where you pierce your corporate veil. This is a term that we call when people are doing that mixing, and they're actually taking away the protection that the LLC is giving them. Remember, I just told you that the LLC is giving that liability protection, same as with an S Corp and a C Corp. Those businesses give you liability protection. Whenever you start mixing around business and personal, that's when there is no protection anymore. You are the business is you. So if any creditor will come after your business, and you're going to say, wait a minute, that's my business. You can go against my business, but all my assets are mine. No, when you mix, we can go. The creditors can go, after your personal assets as well, just because you are the business. The business is you. So you always need to have that mindset again of keeping everything separate. Business is the business. Personal is personal. Don't commingle. You want to have some money in your personal to pay for your personal stuff. Take a salary, take a dividend, do it the proper way, and then pay for everything you want. But don't just start shifting or playing around with your business and personal. That will cause you damage in the long run. So
wow, let me close my mouth because I had it open the whole entire time. Those are things that we think that sometimes might not affect, right? Because you're like, well, it's actually a business expense, right, to a point, but it's really not how it works. So keeping things separate, just keep your business and your personal. That is probably going to save you a lot of money, a lot of headaches. So
True.
wow, thank you for that. I'm taking my mental notes, okay? I'm totally taking my mental notes because I am definitely that kind of person sometimes where I'm like, oh yeah, it's just right there, the card is right there. But no, I mean, very good. Been very good lately, so
I think it's many small business owners.
yeah, right, yes. So but we don't want to be that person that does
Exactly.
that. So do you have any favorite tools, apps, or systems that you recommend people using from the beginning?
Maybe apps like Expensify will be great to save receipts.
Okay.
QuickBooks would be great for bookkeeping.
Okay.
Nowadays, with all kinds of AI infused software, I'm still in the research now to find the best tools for me too, and also to advise my clients to use. But anything with AI that you can learn and train yourself now, I just had a video over this where I say that any business person who will not get AI and infuse it into his systems and operations will stay behind.
Yeah.
Because I do feel that with AI nowadays, the sky's the limit. You can do everything, in a click of a button. So you just need to know what to use. But again, the ones that I currently using and advise my clients to use are the Expensify, like always, Invoice to Go for invoices, or even Intuit for Intuit is great for payroll, for bookkeeping,
That's
for
QuickBooks,
invoices.
right?
Yes,
QuickBooks is the
QuickBooks.
same
You
one.
can
Okay.
integrate everything in one place,
wow. Okay.
which is great. Again, remember, if you need a payroll and you don't know how, you can always, again, talk to your CPA or just go directly to ADP and get that payroll service. Just get it done because, again, as an S corp, you have to have it.
Absolutely.
But then again, I'm still in the research of finding the best AI tools to use nowadays with my type of business and also for my clients' operations, small business owners. And I believe we'll have another, maybe podcast to talk
I'm
about
so
it.
excited about that one because definitely AI has been big in a lot of fields, but AI still needs to have an actual human right behind, which is great because otherwise they don't need us, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, for example, I will give you a photography example. Whenever you use Photoshop and you're like, you want to change, let's say there was a hair hanging and you're like, remove the hair, and then it will add a hand. It's like, no. So, so I'm sure it applies to a lot of fields that is still not there, but eventually it's just going to be as fine as really being able to operate not on its own, because I feel that it will take a long time for that, which is good again. But I would love to talk more about that and see how people like us mortals can learn more about using AI and incorporate it into that part of the business that it's complicated for some of us. And how do you think people can learn to love this side of business?
The AI part?
No,
Or
the numbers.
Oh.
Because that's me. I was just telling you, like I at the beginning I will sit down and literally cry, and because I was so overwhelmed by not knowing. So what do you think will remove that stress from people?
Working with the right people, working with the right tax advisor, with the right CPA, that will literally relieve all that pressure and tension from you, just by explaining to you everything in basic terminology, in a basic set of steps that you need to do, which is what I do with my clients. Sometimes they come overwhelmed, stressed, they don't know what to do. They make money, but sometimes, it's not enough. They're busy making money, but everything else is a mess. They come to me and we just, we simplify everything. We're like, okay, first thing, let's make sure we have a permit. I'm just saying, okay, let's make sure that we're, on top of your books. We have a great set of books. I'm on top of the bookkeeping. Let's see if you need to pay yourself a salary. If so, how much? We break it down in a way that it's so simple all of a sudden. Just, again, not because it's me, but because I do take that time to explain. And I feel like when the infrastructure and the base of your business operations is broken down.
Skeleton,
thank you, that's the word.
Yeah.
Skeleton is there and it makes sense to the business owner. Everything gonna run smoothly from there. You'll see my clients who didn't even know what 941 is. Maybe now that I even say it, people don't know. Now, like, oh, was it filed?
What is
Oh, did I get that?
941?
Oh, so it's just, I teach them to not be, don't be afraid of the terms.
Yeah, don't
Just
be
ask.
intimidated, right?
Exactly.
And I feel that you said something that is key. And going back to how you are different, you're really taking the time to educating people in a very simple way, and that is exactly what we need. We don't need terminology that we're not going to understand. We don't need a process that we might not be able to follow. We just need easy.
Exactly.
Easy. Just give it as easy. It's like going to a store and you see a lot of options and you're like, that's way too many options. Just give me one option that will take me there, and that's all I need. And you're doing that.
I think that's because I was a sales trainer. I used to take that aspect of sales and help a salesperson to make more sales just by breaking it down into small pieces, logical pieces that he can understand how to influence others to buy something. That's what I take on to my job nowadays, to educate people of how to literally understand their operations, understand the numbers, understand their books, take control over it, and not be afraid of it.
But also the fact that you love it.
Yes.
You're really putting a lot of passion into it. It's
do.
like, listen, no, this is how it's not gonna work. So let me explain to you how we can do it, and that's wonderful. And I think that is a beautiful superpower of yours, Odelya. And I feel that I really, really hope that a lot more people find out about you, because we need more guidance. We business people need more guidance, especially women entrepreneurs, because sometimes we don't know what we're doing. And having all these tools and these people and people like you that are going to help us to go through this, it's a turmoil whenever you go through start a business. But sit down with somebody that knows, right? And really get educated, and that will definitely release the stress on all of this. So, oh my God, I feel, as I told you, we need a part 2 of this and a part 3 with the AI. But Odelya, how can people find you?
Through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Like you said, I love to educate and teach, and that's where I take the time sometimes to break it down into tax tips and tax advice, and if there is any change in legislation, I'm going to post it too. Again, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and any social media platform possible. It's just I love to make it accessible to everybody.
Yes, that's wonderful.
And
so basically, you have all the social media channels. Do you have a website where people can find you as well?
yes, of course.
What is your website?
OBCPA.tax. Really simple.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being here and really educating us in a simple way. I feel that OB CPA is the simplified way of doing numbers and organizing your numbers. And I really appreciate you doing that and for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I am sure I'm going to have you back. I know. Yes, soon. Thank you so much. Anything else you would like to add?
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for
The
having me
She
today.
Means Business Master
You're
Society
very, very
podcast.
welcome, my friend.
We will see you
All right,
in the
so
next episode.
I hope you guys enjoyed this so much as I did and got educated in so many ways. And we'll see you guys in the next episode of the She Means Business podcast. Hasta la próxima.